Panda, panda.
Maybe
Let's
it was
go.
also good. We waited a little bit before going live before you got cut off.
Yeah.
Um, but here we are,
Let
another
me, let me
free
button up.
flowing. You're doing that while you're still live, which is fine, man. You know, we have
Yeah, so
to.
it's another free flow Saturday. We are 1 hour off schedule due to the KPLC,
Mhm.
Kenya Puny Lambistic Company. Useless.
You can treat that Kenya
Puny,
lambistic,
Kenya, no,
puny
KPLC, Kenya Puny Lambistic Company.
lambistic
Right. It's
company.
literally KPLC, Kenya Puny
Yes,
Lambistic Company.
there you go. We are
Mm.
treating that. So yes, so welcome once again. Yeah, I mean, despite that disruption we had at the onset, and stuff like this is bound to always happen. We still had to do the show,
No
and
problem.
we are on. So let's go straight to it. Um, I think we wanted to kick off first with discussing Kenyan politics and the goings on. This past week, we had the Azimio parliamentary group. Um, they had their own retreat meeting out in Machakos County,
Yeah.
and there were quite some interesting proclamations or whatever. How would I call them? Announcements that were made by their party leader, Mr. Raila Amolo Odinga. So we want to look at that. We also want to look at Kioni, who is he the Secretary General of Jubilee, or what's his role?
Yeah, I call him the pot banger because he likes there was a, there's a video of him banging pots. We can just call him. We call you by what is outstanding about you. So far there's been nothing remarkable about the guy apart from that day when he appeared with a group of people banging pots. So
Back in post.
we call him the pot banger himself.
Yeah, and I think let me quickly show a bit of those shenanigans from
Mm,
Mr. Amolo Raila Odinga and Mr. Kioni.
mm.
These are the things that our media likes to share,
I call
instead
it
of any
The Kenya clown show.
the Kenya clown show. Yes,
Mm.
and exactly that's what it is. So let me share. So good. So here,
Ah,
Miss Jeremiah Kioni banging sufurias
yes,
with
the pot
schools in
banger.
protest of the high cost of living. Ah, so this was the sort of the goal of their protest.
These are now the cream de la cream of leadership.
Exactly, and
Mm,
this is what they thought.
mm.
It's all theater. It's all theater, nothing else. Let me pull up now the one for Raila. It's all theater. Nothing of interest really. So stop sharing.
It was the usual, the Kenya clown show.
The Kenya
It,
clown show.
it's all show. We call it all show, no go.
Yeah, it's just a lot of so
More of
Draft
bells and whistles.
budget proposal to
bells and
Parliament.
whistles with no
Parliament looks
substance.
at that the budget proposals and then agrees on how to allocate resources. So the days when members of Parliament used to go and see Mtukufu Rais Nyayo, ati ulituahidia sisi utaleta mradi ya maji hapa, utajenga low cost housing hii hapa, barabara hii itatengenezwa, kwenda piga magoti chini kwa rais alete maendeleo, imekwisha. That era is gone. You don't need If you want to go and see Mr. President as a person of party in State House, go. But if you want to go and talk about issues that affect the party, then you must be given permission by the party before you go to see the president. What you see, these people must be seen for what they are, traitors in the cause of a revolution. We are in the course of a very serious issue. What we have through here is
So in a nutshell, this was pretty much what Kenyans were treated to this week, and I think there's also more going on today, or rather has probably happened, from the uh, former cabinet secretary Magoa's funeral out in western part
Yeah,
of Kenya in Siaya.
yeah. Mm.
Um, so this was quite an action-packed week. With we had stories of Jalango being expelled or being asked to. I think there were quite a number of some of the Azimio MPs that went to visit the president at State House. They were all being castigated. It said they're being expelled. But there's a lot to go about. So I wonder what's your take about all this goes on that we've seen on the Kenyan political space this past week.
Well, you have to look beyond the past week and you have to look at the bigger picture.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have to look at uh, the grand scheme of things. The bigger picture is that we've been we've been a third world country for over 40 years.
Hmm.
Over 40 years, we've been a third world country. Is there any document or any plan that has been put there or a plan that exists that should move us at least even 100 kilometers away from being a third world country toward first? If we are not discussing that, the rest is just a show made to simply hoodwink Kenyans and rouse up Kenyans' emotions. Now you'll see people fighting, people arguing, this, that, but ask yourself, since 1963, not even a single bicycle has been made in Kenya. Why are people not asking themselves that? How come small countries like Vietnam are coming from behind and building vehicles? So this, I know my own misdirection. It's
Hmm.
just misdirection. These are shows that are put up so that you can spend the entire week, or if you sit in an office, this very emotional and political discussion. Oh, your guy is wrong. Oh, what not? But it's like rats arguing inside a dustbin. No matter which side wins, you are in the dustbin. You are not moved, then you have not moved a single kilometer from your status as a third world country. And that should be top of the agenda. Now we are talking of, oh, this like this is what who has said this. All these people to some extent have had some aspect of power. They've had and they still have some influence of power, some ability that the normal Mwananchi doesn't have. Who has ever discussed anything about having a cottage industry to stem down cottage industry first, to sort of lift up the economy in the rural areas, and also to stem the flow of this rural urban migration, where you get your degree, then you move from Busia, Nyeri, Katonzweni to come to Nairobi to hustle and hopefully get a job of 50,000 shillings gross per month, which is basically slavery. 50,000 gross per month. When they do the deduction, you are left with what? 35 or 37 or what? To stem those things, number one, have cottage industry. No one is discussing that. No one is discussing methods of lowering cost of power. No one is discussing things like using things like tires or organic material to manufacture our own diesel, because diesel can be manufactured, so that we stem the flow of diesel. No one has talking about reworking or adjusting our transport system. Since we cannot control the price of fuel, you can control how much fuel you are using. Those are things we should be hearing. But each time you hear you put on the TV, you get this thing. I call it a cabaret. You know, cabaret. A cabaret is a performance that is normally uh, done in a cafe or a restaurant, so that you continue eating as the music plays. So you are being exposed to this national cabaret that is not really making any sense. To the guy who has been tamaking for 3 years, what are you really doing for this guy? For the guys whose business is struggling, for the guys whose jobs are stagnated due to the fact that businesses are not expanding, what do you have for them? What does party business have for the people of Kenya? Oh, so so and so got blocked from entering a venue. So what? When so if he got blocked from entering the certain venue, when you wake up in the morning, will the price of fuel be low? No. So you are being, it's like I'll call it, you go to a pharmacy, you have a headache, but the guy is prescribing medicine for what do you call it, those wounds in the stomach, medicine for ulcers. He's prescribing medicine for ear aches, medicine for diarrhea. We are being given a very wrong prescription. This is not what we need. We are being fed very, very wrong things. The country is full of very many bright people. The human resource uh, base of Kenya consists of very sharp people. What are we doing to harness these people? So all this is simply something to lure away from the main picture. And the main picture is what should we do to move us away from a third world country? Because when you're a third world country for over 40 years, is that not a disaster? That's disastrous. And the rate at which we are going, I think we are going to be third world for a very long time. Very, very long time. If you
Somebody
look
could
at it,
even be asking, are we actually making progress or
yeah,
regressing?
you are regressing.
I think in essence we are regressing.
Huh?
So,
I was discussing with someone
mhm, mhm.
uh, about some of the things we import. Look at something like electric cooker. I think Sharif Mustafa, welcome on board.
We also have HDD GOT.
Right, really good. So,
Karibu sana.
uh, as I was saying, all these are side shows to divert our attention for the fact that we've been a third world country for a very long time and we may remain that way for quite a while. We were having some WhatsApp discussion with a friend of mine. We were looking at things that are imported. For example, a blender. What is so complex about a blender
Complex.
apart from a motor, those control buttons and plastics? We are importing them. Look at these fancy cookers. I think you went to campus. You remember those Guacali electric cookers that were being sold outside the hostel during opening day?
Mm,
They are there. Now, if all you need to do is just make a refined version of that, we are not. Things like fridges, a compressor, coolant, the refrigerant, and tubes to circulate the cooling fluid. We can't do that. So these are the questions. Because imagine a plant for assembling cookers. How many people can be employed with such kind of an
mm,
enterprise?
mm.
And you see, let's not complicate issues. You can say, okay, we may not. Somebody can claim we don't have the enterprise, but we can talk to somebody like Hitachi to come and assemble his cookers here. We'll give them
Correct.
the incentive. But you see, when
Correct.
you do that, it will be such a mass employer that people not be having time to come for these protests or these meetups.
Correct.
They'll be busy.
Correct.
So we've quite literally played into these people's hands. And no one is
Mm,
raising these questions. No one is raising questions. Till when are we going to be buying things like TVs? we can assemble them locally, because my belief is that if someone can repair a TV, then with some bit of training they can assemble one if given the equipment
Mm,
and the facility. Yeah.
correct. Correct.
Many times we've had mobile phones breaking down, and the local fundi at the shopping center repairs, and it works very well. So if we can repair such things, why can't we assemble them? The problem is that if we assemble start doing such things, the employment levels will drop. So many people will be busy, and the people will be enlightened. People will start posing very tough questions to the politicians who won't be able to answer them. Nobody will actually put a situation whereby you can't stand in front of people and say something like TB Mtialala and people to listen to you. Hey, hey, chief. No, 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 no. We have a problem. We've been assembling electronics for a while. We've saturated our local market. Give us strategies of pushing our products beyond our borders. Those are the questions someone's going to be asked. And those are very tough questions. Imagine you're a politician, you go to a village, they tell you, oh, it's okay, it's good that you have visited us. But you see, here in this village, we normally assemble cookers. And because these are our cookers, we assemble, they're working very well. Give us a strategy of pushing our products to Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and whatnot. A typical Kenyan politician will be lost.
When I was actually thinking through, first of all, when I was just going through some of those, all this, the Azimio parliamentary group meeting in Machakos, the Kioni pot banging
Mhm.
uh, antiques, you know. Number one, when I listen to Raila, and I've been listening to him not just this past week, I think the recent, almost you could say what, the last 2 3 weeks, it's been quite prominent uh, on our TV screens, on the news, um, on the media, basically. And I realized this was the energy that of Raila that I wasn't seeing during the campaign. Actually, at some point, I was saying age was catching up with him. There was some point he seemed a bit incoherent. There were points that he was coming off, as sleepy, as tired. And I was saying, man, age is catching up with this guy. He's not as vibrant, energetic as he used to be. And that was quite alarming. And I was wondering, if he ever ends up being the president, what will he be like? Are we going to be having our very own Joe Biden in Kenya? He didn't have the energy, and to some degree you couldn't quite blame. It could be a factor of age. But if I was to look at him then and now, it's like two different human beings. Now he seems to be back to the energetic firebrand Raila that we always knew of. He
Well,
he
he's in
came
his
off.
element now.
Yes, is his
Yeah,
element is, I guess, in opposition.
yeah, he's now purely in opposition.
Yeah, but that contrast, basically, I mean, I would have expected him to really use up
Mm.
that same energy in pushing his agenda to be the president, but that wasn't there. It looked like, if you had to look at some of the past images and videos of him during the campaign period in the lead up to the election, he actually looked like he was being sedated. I don't know if how that true that could be, looking at that and looking at now the images and the videos that we are seeing of him. So that, for one, struck me, it made me realize, there's something that Miguna once said. I think when he was coming off and during the launch of his book, Unpeeling,
The
I don't
mask.
know what it was, Unpeeling the Mask, and he said something. He said Raila has never wanted to be a president. So could it be that all these ventures of his, he has probably campaigned to be the president the past, what is it, 3 or 4 past elections? He's been the prominent opposition leader, and none of those people claim he's the one who won during the 2007 2008 election, which led up to our post election crisis and conflict that we had. Um, and then thereafter, 2013 and the other subsequent election. And I realized probably the way the Kenyan election has been designed and whoever orchestrates this, it's like Raila has always been playing his part, which is be the main protagonist against the person who is eventually going to be selected to be the president. So he has been all along been playing his role. He's just come out saying, we've got a whistleblower report which is very legitimate. It says that he actually won. How come he didn't present this same evidence during the court case? How comes he wasn't as vibrant right after the election when they were contesting it? How comes he wasn't even this vibrant during the campaigns? This guy has always been playing his part. He's always been in the opposition. His intention is never and it will never be to be a president. Now he's already too advanced in age. I don't know what all these antiques are going to lead up to. But to me, it clearly confirms what Miguna told us. This guy has never wanted and never was designed to be a president. He was put there to play a role and to be a character, and the character was to be Kenyan's opposition figure. And now, if I tie all those together, I realize I think our elections, there's a very important video. I don't know if you've seen it. It's been circulating on Twitter, which talks about the Romans, what is technically termed as the Roman suckers. Pretty much what you are alluding to when you talk of misdirection. So the politicians or the elite create all this drama to just keep the masses engaged with meaningless stuff, misdirecting them while the real stuff is happening here is they're doing us like a sleight of hand. They're distracting, they're misdirecting us, they're just filling us with nonsense. This is the stuff they parade to us on our TV screens. And of course, the media and politicians are in on this game together. And I posted something one time on my tweet, I think a few weeks ago, where I was asking, who is this person who actually directs this game? Because it's actually a game. And as you've said, we are the one who actually been played. We're falling right into their trap. So it's all Roman circus. It's all theater. All these things of the parliamentary group and all the antiques we saw happening with Jalango being chased and being told not to get into the room, all this and all these announcements they make. It's all theater. It's all a game. And I even asked myself, these guys, when they wake up, they go plan out their rallies. They'll get into vehicles, they have to fuel those vehicles. That is time. I don't think any of these people are doing it for free. So for them, this is their job. They've been told, hey, Raila, go do your thing. Go plan your rally, wherever. We'll send cops. They'll cause a lot of melee. There'll be a lot of running around. That's going to be what people will wake up to discuss. That's what will be discussed on TV and be given a lot of airplay. That's what is gonna. So all along, this is the game. They are doing nothing. They are not advancing us. As you're saying, we should be talking of setting up cottage industries. We should be talking about how do we attract the likes of Itachi and Toyota and others to establish local assembly factories in Kenya. How do we begin establishing our own brands, at least for some of the simple tools? home appliances. We should be having our own Kenyan brand. I mean, these are already technologies well developed. I don't think there's, if you put, I'm sure if I was to give you that challenge, design for us a blender, you'll be able to come up with one. So we've all always been played all through. Um, and it's these guys that are positioning themselves as opposition, but basically they are playing a role. There must be somebody who pays them when they wake up to do that parliamentary meeting or so-called retreat. Who is paying them for that time? I'm sure their political coffers don't have enough money to constantly be able to pay these days day in day out. Are they being paid by government? Who is paying them to act out these roles and characters that they put out for us on TV that keep us engaged? As I always said, it's like a reality TV drama that we are watching, and it becomes like a fun thing that we now begin commenting about. That's why sports were created. Sports were created essentially to be, again, this raw massacre. So yeah, so for me, that's my read of all these shenanigans we've been seeing from the likes of Raila, Kioni, and others, and their, you know, fellow politicians.
I'm going to send you a picture. You
Hmm.
know a guy called Danny Trejo.
No.
Uh, I've just sent you a picture. You can just share it here.
Okay. There it is. Can you see it?
Yeah, that's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's Danny Trejo. He's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he normally plays the role of a villain.
Mm.
I've rarely seen him in any movie where he plays the good guy. He always plays the villain. He always
Yes.
rouses your emotion.
Yes.
Whenever you see him, he comes onto the screen. You know
Yeah.
things are going to get thick, and this guy has to be taken out. This guy is a bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
and there's always be someone opposite him who looks nice, kind-hearted, equally strong, who manages to take him out or something like
Mm.
that. So, as you said, some of these political figures may be a character like Danny Trev. He's specifically placed there to rouse some emotion. And
Mm.
the emotion is we need a savior.
Mm.
That's the emotion.
Exactly.
It is emotion of I need a savior. This is your savior. Rather than the logic of let us set up something for you so that you can save yourselves. Like you are drowning. Here is a life jacket. Save yourself. You are drowning. Here is a rope. Save yourself. That's how it should be. But we have our own hero, like our own Rambo or Schwarzenegger or whatever commando, whatever it is, who has been set up. A situation is created up where you are totally hopeless, and this guy comes here and gives you small tidbits of hope. This time we are doing it. This time we are crossing this river. This time we are getting there. We have to. And people really went nuts. People went nuts. And there's actually an option whereby you can create a situation whereby what if we say we create this situation whereby people can actually get empowered to some extent, regardless of whoever is running the government, so that empowerment becomes our standard operating procedure. So when another government comes in power, it's simply a matter of policy. This one policy favors this one, but that aspect of empowerment is there. It's no longer an issue. It's not being discussed. It's like no matter whether you've woken up to a cloudy day, a sunny day, or a raining day, you have to brush your teeth. So that empowerment becomes an SOP, standard operating procedure for the Republic of Kenya. The system seeks to empower you, even by force if need be. But now Now, see, that is logical thinking, but it's been twisted to emotions, whereby someone will tell you, oh, you know, the government that was there before did ABCD. Then you have another character there by the name of Raila who will come and, oh, you know, this guy did ABCD. It's a lot of, I call it wordplay, a lot of wordplay that is sort of circumventing the real issues. No real issue has been discussed.
Or word salad.
Yeah.
It's a confusion.
Word salad. Word salad. Nothing of that sort has been discussed. So, if you are to be logical, what has party politics got to do with the state of the republic? What has party politics got to do with the strength of the Kenya shilling against the foreign currencies, especially the dollar? The dollar is, I don't know, going to 124, 125, or what? That's not good for the country. A country that is so import oriented. So at the end of the day, this is a Danny trail that we are looking at. On the other side, we have a commando or a Spider-Man or a Superman there with his team. It's all about rousing people's emotions. And the moment we are in our emotions, as the great Andrew Kibe says, that's where we fail. That
Yeah.
is where we, yeah, the moment we get into our emotion. Why do you think people fight at rallies? Those are emotions.
Mm.
The person you
And
are
you,
fighting the person you are fighting for. Are you a paid mercenary to fight? Because if you are a mercenary, being paid like let's say for every stone that you throw, 20,000 shillings. For every stone that you throw and it hits the target, 35,000 shillings. Now that one I'll go throw stones. That is okay. You are now an official mercenary. But you go there, risk your life, risk being hit by bullets, getting tear gassed, bludgeoned, pounded to a bloody pulp. And have you had any time where people hurt in protests where these political leaders go to condole with them, say we'll pay your bills? Is there something like that?
no, you're on your own. You're on your
Emotions,
own. You're on your
emotions.
own. And
Mm.
I think you've captured it so well. Um, and it actually corresponds to the way the world as we see it now is constructed, where you've got these people that are elevated and propped and positioned, particularly by mainstream media, as experts, as celebrities, as influencers, and as politicians. Actually, in some regard, I've mentioned this before, politicians are known as the ugly celebrities. And it's all about pushing this idea that there's a messiah that you should look up to, essentially giving out your own power to somebody or a group of people and accepting your own position as a victim, as a helpless person that can't do anything. And essentially our politics is crafted like that. That's why we want to keep people poor. That's why we don't want to keep them, as you say, empowered, educated, enlightened enough to realize that power belongs to them. It's not on these puny, lambistic individuals that we cheer. And I mean, just think of how they do this. They always craft a very good marketing slogan. We've had all these big terms, the second, third liberation. And every time we are looking at this next election and thinking, yes, this is the time to Tawamoka, this is the time that we tutanusurika, we will be liberated. And whoever it might be Raila, it might be a Kibaki, it might be a Uhuru. They come up with all this slogan. I remember there is one that they pushed. They were calling going to Canaan. I think
Yeah.
Raila was behind that.
Mm.
The whole BBI thing, just think about it. It was a complete waste of time. Another way to keep us engaged on nonsense while they are cutting deals behind the curtain for themselves and their own children.
In
This
fact,
is what it's all about. This
there was
this
another
this
one
whole thing.
called,
Yeah,
remember the one of when they were saying, tumetoka analog tumeenda digital.
exactly.
Digital government. What is a digital government? I've never understood what a digital government is.
So we've been put on this perpetual cycle where they come up with these very nice, catchy marketing slogans. Of course, Raila is there, who is positioned as the savior. But what does it lead to? It's still the same game. It's still the same game. I don't think anything has
The
changed.
bottomless pit. The bottomless pit.
It's a bottomless pit, and we're always looking forward to these guys. They have lied to us. And
Maybe, you can take down that picture. Somebody can join in and say, I get confused there. What's going on? This guy's reviewing a movie.
let me even play this one as we round up on this one. I think this video of this person who was talking about what he termed as Roman circus. Other people have called, I think there's another term I've heard of it called the Kabuki theater. Um, I tend to refer it as a politician's reality TV show that we are always glued to. I'm sure somewhere in Kenya they are waiting for the 9 p.m. News cycle to tune in and hear what Raila said during the
the,
Magoa funeral. It's all the same. It's the same freaking game.
the 9 p.m. clown show.
The 9 p.m. clown show. And we are always glued to it without missing. That's why these guys, I say, they are on the pay. This is their job. They have always been on it. This is what Raila has been doing for the last, I don't know what, 40, 30 years. He's still at it. People are even been calling for him to resign. So let me quickly play this video of this person talking of the Roman circus, I think, for us to then move on to the next topic.
So they don't ever question the emperor. Care how long he works, and they don't care what he does.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me start it again.
Care how long he works, and they don't care what he does. There is no job worth $2 million a year. That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted one player on one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive, and when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor? He sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. He has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. That's why they pay a player on a football team or a baseball team $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year. It is the Roman circus.
There you have
There we
it.
go.
It is the Roman circus. That's what we spend our time on, and forget about the real issue, and relinquish our own power to these ugly celebrities, as you would term them, and instead of thinking of the real hard questions of the truth. How do we empower ourselves? How do we ensure we are not enslaved? Yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
That's it. So that was the Kenya,
Clown
and
show.
it was the Kenyan clown show, and it's still ongoing, and many people are glued to it, and they're big fans. As I said, 9 p.m. Just a few minutes from now, they'll be on, looking to see what their influencers and the people they follow have said.
The
So
trumpet.
yeah. So the other thing that happened was
Pot
another
bangers.
clown show.
The
Another
pot bangers.
There's a pot bangers. Yeah, maybe you can comment on that before we go to this thing that was trending about the Kiss FM, fight between Ochichi and Mr. Erika Amondi.
Oh, the thing
Or is it
for
Mrs.?
Kioni and his pot banging
Yeah,
shenanigans.
yeah. You wanted to speak about that? I thought we
I
had
actually
actually.
He's
We had
only.
actually,
I wrote.
eh,
I
go
wrote
on.
to him on
Uh,
Twitter.
uh-huh.
The same. I want to discuss with you a method of doing a protest that is you are you are actually you face no risk of action of riot police and you are completely safe, but is extremely effective. That I think it will be the first type of that type of protest in the entire world. The
Mm,
idea that I have in mind is you do protest using 100 drones,
mm-hmm,
like hundreds of drones
mm-hmm,
with if you're saying so and so must go with a pre-recorded message playing over and over and over, drones flying over Kenyatta Avenue, Moy Avenue, Tomboya Street in a what we call a pre-programmed route,
mm,
and they'll be flying. Of course, you can set it such a way that there's a way of okay. I've not seen it happen, but if I'm to sit down with someone who does drone technology, out of 100 drones, I can select 10 or 20 drones. I'm controlling only those 10, then the rest follow. So you don't have to
mm,
control all of them. So of course the police will be there, they'll be confused, they don't know what to do. They'll
mm-hmm,
be try they'll try to lob tear gas, but a drone with is has no is not affected by tear gas.
mm.
And that will create such, in fact, will be on CNN news. The
Yes,
biggest protest in the world by drones. In fact, you can actually cover the entire Nairobi skyline with drones because these politicians have money.
yes,
Import 10,000 drones and fly them all over Nairobi from 9 in the morning to, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the evening. Of course, for recharging, you may have maybe wave after wave. Wave one, they run, another one, the first wave is still charging, another wave comes in from another direction, and
mm,
the drones will be having tags, hanging tags of party colors. They know this these are Azimio drones, but they don't know where the signal is coming from, because a protest is supposed to be, it should be lawful but disruptive.
mm,
Lawful disrupt but not lawful but not but very disruptive. So people get confused what is happening. You have the first wave of 200 drones flying past Kenyatta Avenue. Ooh. Then you know the battery is running low. They return back to base. You give them a lull period of 1 hour. Then another 500 drones flying through Tomboya Street with Azimio colors. Total pandemonium, total confusion, but they don't know who to hit. The GSU are there with their tear gas. They know. So what do we do? We are confused. Who do we shoot? Because they have maybe among the 500 drones, there are only 50 drones scattered all over that are controlling the other ones.
mm,
They can't use live ammo because they may end up shooting an innocent bystander. So those are things that we should, in this day and age, if you want to do a protest, those are the things you should be doing. Or next, now that you are done with flying drones, you look for what is called those drones, which okay, they are remote control units, but call them drones, dressed up as spiders or rats. Pass them at very high speed along Parliament Road. You say you are not really robbing or breaking things, but you are causing a disruption.
mm,
The purpose of a protest is to make people have what we call a disturbed state of mind. But you come with spoons and banging, just one, two tear gas canisters, and you are gone. The protest is over. But when you
mm.
have drones flying out of the range of tear gas canisters, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I think Keone should take that. I mean, that thing looks so childish for him to be pushing that. It just looked terribly bad.
Hmm.
Um, and it's good that you gave him a good idea
Yeah.
for him to think about. So let me go to this Kiss FM fiasco that happened between Erika Amondi and Ochichi and Obina, Ochichi Obina.
Is that a Nigerian name or what name is that?
the Ochichi, the Ogobin. I think yeah, because his actors has always been playing that uh, playing
Nigeria.
the Niger thing. I mean, this is to show
Why?
this is a credit to Nigeria, showing how their cultures influenced us such that somebody who is Kenyan is not Nigerian, took up the whole shtick around being a Nigerian, how they talk, how they behave, and made a
If you, if
character
you,
out of
if you
it.
want to listen to a Nigerian and look for a Nigerian and talk to him,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct. I mean, it looked bad.
If I want to talk to a Nigerian, I'll look for a Nigerian and have a conversation. I'll look for those Nigerian movies where they have those acts. Why should I listen to a bootleg version of?
Yeah, a bootleg version of a Nigerian. So
It's
it's not
like
the
you
real
going
thing.
somewhere and finding a Nigerian talking with a Kamba accent. You'd be like, "Boss, are you
Yes,
okay?" It looks weird. Hmm?
looks very weird. So let
Hmm.
me let me get this. Ish, I lost it. Where was it? I was playing it right now. Let me quickly just show a bit of a glimpse of that whole thing with. It was a badly acted, staged thing that they want us to think it's real. So where am I? So let me share. But you gave it a very good title. So I want you to just say what you told me earlier offline,
So
so you
this,
can see the video.
uh,
So let me play it. Yeah, I think we've seen. We don't want to play the whole
yeah,
the whole
this is what
thing.
I call the creativity drought.
Creativity drought of our puny
Mm.
media teams.
At the
Creativity
very
drought.
at the very very best, we can call it a bootleg Jerry Springer thing. It's just a
Yes.
bootleg version of Jerry Springer. And so it's actually this is the best of our Kenyan visual entertainment arts. This is cream of the cream comes to visual entertainment. When it comes to if you want to watch something Kenyan to entertain your visual palette, here we have. In terms of food, I'll call it bitter herbs.
But is that such a sad indictment of our media scene? I mean, uh, just I listened to Andrew Kibe submission on this yesterday, and while he was reviewing this, one to confirm it was a staged thing, and we all know it is because you can all the positioning of the camera. This is something they anticipated. It was all orchestrated. For likes and
It's,
going
it's a radio.
viral.
It's a radio station. Why do you have TV
Yes,
cameras there?
exactly. I mean, these days you do have radio being streamed live on YouTube and those kind of things, which is fine. But seeing cameras being there before the whole interview started and during the interview, and then right when there's sort of the whole altercation happened, and which followed through to the corridors or right outside the studio. You can clearly see they all were anticipating this. They had all planned for this. And what I picked from yesterday's when Andrew Kibo was actually discussing it, somebody mentioned that there was a time in Kiss FM there used to be a show called Crossfire. I don't know if you remember it. It used to
Yeah,
be, actually
on
it was
Sunday
Andrew.
evening.
it was Patrick Kwako himself, one of the co-owners of Kiss FM,
mm.
uh, who was hosting it. He was the one moderating, and you had the likes of Mutula Kilonzo, you had the likes of what's this guy called?
Even I think there was a time Otieno Kajwang was part of it also.
Yes, I mean it was
Mm,
such a lively show, and these guys, knew how to play along and create such a fun. As much as they reviewed the
mm,
current affairs and the politics, man, that show
mm.
was. I never used to miss it. It used to be on Sunday.
It
I
also be on
actually,
Sunday evening, Crossfire.
yeah,
Mm.
Crossfire. I even commented on Andrew Kibe's video saying, if somebody could put out those recordings, man, I wouldn't mind buying them just to re-listen. And that
It
made
was
me
on,
now go,
I think it was year 205, 206, or so, if I'm not
yes,
wrong.
it was the early 2000s,
Mm.
just
When
when Kiss
radio was
actually,
really radio.
when radio was radio. And I
Mm,
actually said the old Kiss FM
mm.
was gold. When I thought about it, do you remember they used to have things like prank calls that were well
There's a
played out
guy
by the
called
likes?
Klauschen. The character was called Klauschen. Klaus.
Yes,
The character was called Klaus.
the host then were the likes of Marcus. I think this was is a Ugandan guy who's worked in
Mm.
some of our radio stations. He's worked for
But
Capital.
we have to give kudos to the genesis of all these
Mhm.
those keys. The genesis was, remember, KBC Metro FM.
Yes,
Metro
Metro was the
FM
first
came,
FM station.
Metro FM with the people like I remember Anne Lemayan and
Mhm.
some big names who were there. Then these guys came up. Capital FM came.
Oh my goodness.
He's then I remember there used to be a show called Hits Not Homework, something
It's
like
not
that.
that was on Capital FM.
Capital Hits Not Homework.
It used to be run by this guy called what's
There's a
his name?
Jungu. There's a Jungu guy. You
Was
forget
it a
his name.
Jungu or a Kenyan dude? No, it was a Kenyan dude who actually started Hits Not
Yeah,
Homework. Then
yeah,
later on, it was taken up by Eve D'Souza. But before
yeah,
Eve D'Souza
yeah,
was, a very well-known guy. He's part of that group of Caroline Mutoko and Maina
mm,
Kageni.
mm,
These oldies were
mm.
really good at their game. And, the Jimmy Gathus even also came from Tonim Salame. Tonim Salame? Where
Was
was
in
Tonim Salame?
was in Metro FM.
Metro FM. Thanks, Sharif, for giving us that
Metro.
one.
It was on Metro FM. There was a program called I think uh, that program used to be on Sunday between 9 and 12 a.m. in the morning. It was on Sunday.
Now, all that creativity, as you call it, creativity drought, is not
Mm.
there.
Gone. It's gone.
I mean,
It's
we
way
know the
gone.
radio medium is changing, but
Mm.
radio is still very
Ah,
powerful.
Farid Kimani. I also
Farid
started.
Kimani.
Mm,
There was another guy, I'm
mm,
forgetting his name.
mm,
That whole group of the Caroline Mutokos, Farid Kimani, even this
mm.
lady went to CNN. What was her name? Zain Vaji.
Then Vaji.
You know,
It
this
was,
whole group, brilliant.
and then before also it was after Metro FM came, Capital Keys. Then Nation FM also came into the mix.
Nation FM
Nation
came in.
FM. Mm. It
But the
was
hot ones used to be
Capital and
um,
Kiss.
Capital and Kiss, and then before Classic came in,
Mm,
and Classic, of course,
mm,
Classic more or less is the breakfast show. They
yeah,
even
yeah,
have to replay it in the evening.
yeah.
Everything else that happens in between is nothing. But because there
Re-
was Maina and Kingangi, that is still a hit, but almost dying now. There was a time Maina used to do Drive with Ses Mutungi.
Ses Mutungi,
And
yeah.
man, that chemistry that those two had, I even say they need to figure out how they can still revive it. But even now, they can go independent. The tools are there. They don't need to work for a big company, the likes of Radio Africa. They can
Mm.
go independent. I mean, when actually I was thinking of Crossfire, it brought me to think of Jeff Koinange when he started Capital FM, when he started Capital Talk on K24, and then now it morphed into Jeff Koinange Live. And Jeff
JK Live.
Koinange JKL Live used to be lively thing. I used to watch it, particularly when it was in on KTN.
Mm.
As soon as this guy moved into Citizen, I think now it has died. He doesn't bring in, the key guys, the Tony Gashokas. Even this time when Miguna, can you imagine when Miguna was around?
But you
Later,
see, can you look at another issue?
yeah,
Um, some of these shows really hit because of the strength of the political clout of those leaders. But what do we have now? What do we have? Even if we brought them, who will he bring? We have a clown show. The
yeah.
environment is a clown show. Who? Okay, if we set it up again, who would we bring?
I mean, I would imagine he can still do the Tony Gashokas and the Migunas. It's
Those
just
are
that,
two.
it's just
Those are
that,
two. Where are the others? It has
yeah,
to the vibrancy has to be continuous, and vibrancy has to be dynamic, not the same
yes,
people over and
yes,
over. It
yes,
will wear out.
that's
But
true.
the political class is made of clowns and jesters. So
There are no new guys that have come in.
mm, mm, mm. That
Uh,
is that's partly because of us, the electorate. It is the electorate
yes,
which
yes,
decide who we want in power.
yes.
As we normally say, if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So we play the puny game. Our prizes are puny. I think the guy Sheriff Mustafa points is Edward Quach,
Edward,
the real
this
OG.
these were the legends, bro.
Uh,
Even this guy called Nico Diambo. But now,
yeah.
I think
Mm,
also media, in a sense, has morphed into a point where it has become
mm,
so number one, very restrictive. So I guess it
mm,
is not enabling sort of this creativity to flourish. And
mm,
then two, it is now following these agendas. And George
mm.
called it. George called the Kiss FM thing. I didn't even expect it, but now the way he's been able to tie it all together, and now we can see it in full swing. He called it. He said Kiss FM is now
Mm.
pushing the gay agenda. Kiss FM is essentially becoming this alphabet, pushing the alphabet agenda. And it started off with a new presenter they have brought in for the breakfast show. And now, based on the discussion of how the altercation between Ogao Bina and Erica Amondi began, it was
By
again
the way,
pushing
one thing,
pushing that whole thing.
let me ask:
Mm.
do you find something weird with what Erica was wearing? That blue cloth. Bring it up a bit. I don't know. Are my senses being too alert, or am I simply imagining my own thing? I was
It
looking
could
at
be.
that
It could be. Let
that
me look.
cloth.
Let me.
A man can wear something, and you're like, Chief, uh,
Yeah.
what type? What is that he's wearing? If
Yeah. You know, this guy is a cloud chaser.
no, but
Uh,
you look at that cloth he's wearing. It's a bareback. Yeah, it's a bareback.
it's a bareback. Of course, also on the front, it's open.
Hold
And
on,
this
hold
is
there.
what
Do you know the meaning
Ogobina
of?
was saying that.
Do you know the meaning of bareback?
No, no, no. Tell me.
Let me just Google it. If uh,
You know, it's good you're seeing those little nuances because they are critical. Because
I'm
as I
going
was
to I'm going
even
to
reading,
snipe something. Let me snipe
yes,
something for you so
yes,
that um, it's not seen that I'm concocting things here.
yeah,
That we are, we also have our own agenda. Let me just. Uh, I'm going to. I'm copying it to you right now so that you can see and share.
okay,
Because it was hitting me that what is this guy wearing? Just check your WhatsApp. I've sent you a message.
bareback, sex without a condom, especially anal sex between men without. Man, is it true?
And now look at that cloth he's wearing.
Let me put it up, bro. This
Mm.
is this is this
You
is
know,
so
something was
perceptive of
tingling
you.
inside me. That was tingling. I was thinking, there's something wrong with this picture. This is the advantage
This,
of being outside the matrix. Things really,
yes, they
really
click.
stick out. Mm,
They click because you can see it. Even the song they played.
mm.
You
Just
know, I used to think of all this. Let me put it up. Let me put it up. I used to think of this thing and then I'm like, I'm probably reading too much into something,
mm,
but nothing. I remember once I went for a training from on speaking and public speaking, and it was a training that was being conducted by a former TV host. She used to actually host some of these game shows on KTN, and she's also a thespian. And she told me this, and I've never forgotten. She told me nothing, particularly on mainstream media, be it TV, radio, whatever it
mm,
is there by
mm.
accident. If you
Or incident.
watch, no, yes, it's not there by mistake.
Mm, mm.
It's a well
So
orchestrated
you can share. You
performance,
can share
and it shows everything.
that
Let me share
that
it.
definition of verb.
So this is slang. It's like a slang word,
Yes,
and
sex
your
without
time
especially
bareback. So
bareback.
it's sex without condom, especially anal sex between two men without a condom. So when somebody says bareback, this is what they mean as a slang word.
Mm.
As a
Now
as a
go back to that video. You can just, if you can play the video and freeze that
that
part
part.
where Air Commandi, we can actually see what he's wearing.
Okay, let me stop this. Man,
And why would a
this is.
man wear a cloth that is revealing his back? Looks weird.
They are all sending certain subtle messages,
Yeah, yeah.
subtle messaging, and this is part of that programming that is happening. So, okay,
Mm.
sorry, I was there. Let me
There,
free. You
that's a
see it?
bareback.
It's a bareback.
It's a bareback. He's wearing a bareback, and he's intentionally so that his back is facing the camera.
Yes, they had cameras positioned at all
Yeah.
angles. Again, this goes to show this was
Uh,
a very well
Secondly,
orchestrated
look at the color
performance.
of the clothes. The color of the cloth is a shiny blue. It's not manly. That color would be expected from a lady's dress or a lady's blouse. It is very strange for, look at the way that blue color is outstanding. Can you wear a cloth, a blue clothes with such outstanding blue? Looks strange.
Yes,
Yeah.
uh, and let me share George's Mr. IQ Watson Twitter submission of this because he tied it all together. And I didn't know when George was pushing this initially. Where was he heading with this thing? So let me. So it's good you've caught that.
Yeah,
And
look at the way he has strategically placed his back facing the camera. In the definition, bareback. These are called subtle messages.
subtle messages,
Subtle messaging.
very subconscious. They are programming the
Mm.
audience. They are
Yes.
programming.
And then look
Uh,
at the color scheme. They are made in such a way that it is that blue color which is outstanding. And I think the image, the color composition has been artificially edited.
so let me share also now the Twitter from George. And he said, just as I pointed out last month, the future of Kiss 100 FM is gay. And this
Yeah.
whole drama was created to pass the message by Oga Ochichi Obina. So think about it. We were just talking about the misdirection that happens with the politicians. So the big talk here is the altercation between
Mm.
Oga Ochichi Obina and Erica Amondi.
And
But
secondly,
what is the underlying message? It wasn't even the
secondly,
altercation. That was sort
secondly,
of the sub story.
and also apart from that,
Mhm,
see, men disagree. Men have some of the toughest disagreements ever.
mhm.
But it is feminine behavior to start throwing hands like they did. This is typical feminine behavior.
Exactly. You need to
Uh,
restrain yourself. And why do you do
yes.
this
Mm,
for the public audience, unless you're doing it to pass a particular message? This was
mm,
George's first tweet. The future
mm,
of Kiss 100 is gay. This is
mm,
now with um, the bringing on board
mm,
Sheila Kwamboka. And he went on and said, the message here said, um, so this is what he did this tweet. And I remember, when did he do it? It was 19th of January, early this year, when the announcement of her coming on board in Kiss FM. And he ties it all together. The whole thing is not about the altercation. That was just the side story. And that's what the masses will see right off the bat. But the real message is Kiss is a safe space for Erica Omondi to come out. That's what Ogo Bina was talking about. It through these words, being fluid, and I don't know, all those nonsense. And then he says Miss Incel, making reference to this lady Kwambox, had the coming out story queued as soon as the message was delivered. Let's look at the story. It's from Adele, and it talks of one can become unbothered. He's saying it's all talking about, be free, be yourself, these subtle messages of the alphabet people that they push.
and they look very
That's the
innocent.
title.
The
Very
message is,
innocent.
mm,
They show, like the way the politicians say, you're free to love whoever you want to love, all those kind of things. The song itself, again, was affirming the same message that Ogo Chichi Obina was making on with regards to this altercation. So basically what we are saying is, and this is part of when you begin to uh, unplug from the matrix, these things become so clear to you. You don't just look at the TV, read a news article, and just see it on the surface. There's a lot more that is being communicated, but the people that are plugged in, they are so blind to it. And I must commend you for seeing that, from the dressing, from the color, and now George, you tied it to the song and the whole narrative that was being pushed to the prediction that he had made earlier. Man, this is brilliant. So nothing is by accident, uh, you know, and that's a message that people need to know,
I
that
also
they
want
need to open
to
themselves up to
also just to give a bit of just not okay. I'll call it a shout out for
Mm.
the Kenya Puny Lambistic Company for returning power, because if that power not returned on time, we
Mm.
could not have caught this.
Yes.
Because from the word go, when I saw that video, something was like something is not right. Then I started thinking, because there used to be a movie, but in I think it was over 15 years ago. There's a movie called Brokeback Mountain. That was a movie
Mm.
about gay stuff, pure gay stuff. I never even bothered to look at it, but I was just told it's a gay movie. When you look at the reviews, gay. Then that's where the name I had the name Bareback. Then I saw this guy. First off, he's wearing a cloth that from far looks like a mini dress.
Mm.
Then why would a man wear something that's revealing his back like that? Then I say, oh, bareback. And
I don't know.
what is so
Mhm,
sad is a few years ago,
mhm.
Eric Omondi was a top end comedian under Churchill show.
Yes,
It's sad
yes,
how people depreciate.
it
Eric
is.
Omondi was the highlight of Churchill show.
He was a top dog. He was always the guy that
Then,
Churchill used
but you
to
remember,
view as a very
he
last
started
guy.
doing that. He started doing those coming out of the closet while in Churchill. There was a time he came out wearing, I think, uh, a blouse and a skirt and high heels and a wig. People were celebrating and whatnot, but I think that is where now the closet was now being opened. Closet is not opened directly; it's just opened peak by peak, peak by peak. And I
Very
think that
subtle.
uh,
It's very subtle.
mm,
And it's in these things, and you can start seeing if you now start looking at even some of the products, you
you
might
look at
even
a
start
billboard,
see.
people are discussing a billboard where
Mhm,
two ladies are on what looks like a romantic date. Should be a man
mhm.
and a woman, but it's two
Exactly.
ladies on a date. Why? Mm?
Exactly. I
So
mean, this is it's good you raised this, and this is the minute you begin unplugging from the matrix, these things become so clear, so very clear. I know I sometimes talk to some people, and I'm thinking like, am I the one who is mad? And it's all been very perceptive. It's all been very keen to the details. As I say, they'll start even producing products, and you might start seeing them incorporating colors. It could be those alphabet colors in some of our day-to-day products. It could be the bread that you buy, the milk that you buy. You start seeing some of this. It could be, as you say, some of those images we see on billboards, the adverts we see on TV.
also
They're well crafted. Yeah,
subliminal messaging also.
subliminal messaging, and
Mm,
it goes straight to your subconscious, and that's the straight the spot to hit. And it's all
mm,
about the sounds, the images, uh,
mm.
all these things, they all tie in together. I want to show you a quick video just before we wrap up about
Okay.
some horses. I saw this, I even shared it with Kib. I don't know if he ever mentioned it in his video, of some horses crossing the road. I think this is somewhere in the UK. And just watch it, and let me see what your take about it is. Let me even put.
Ah, yeah.
Mounted police force. Oh, I don't like the colour. Don't like the colour. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Mounted police. Brilliant, brilliant.
So, what's your read about this?
It's just the animal reacting to that color combination because the
Mhm,
rainbow existed before the LGBTQ campaign. So maybe just a natural reaction to that blend of
mhm,
colors. And maybe most of the
mhm.
time, rainbows appear in the sky. So the horse is seeing something that has never seen before because rainbows are
On
in
the
the sky.
ground. Yeah, exactly.
And the rainbow colors existed before LGBTQ hijacked a natural phenomenon and tainted it with the puny stuff. The horses were simply reacting to something they'd never seen. Those colors only exist in the sky when it's summer raining and the sun is there. Then you have the spectrum that splits up the sun's rays into various colors. So I think the horses you are just we normally say if you don't know something, consider it dangerous. So the horses were just evading something strange. The rainbow colors were there because the sun was there, rain has existed. It is only these diabolical characters that have created a situation whereby when we see a rainbow color, we start questioning. I see a person with a t-shirt with some sort of a rainbow badge. I'll want to steer clear of such an individual by very far. If maybe you're in a matatu, I would want to change my seat. I don't know. But now, that is the matrix for you. It puts you on red alert even if you are not at war. But then again, you are at war. You are at war.
And you know, I think there was a comment that we once somebody mentioned. I think it must have been Andrew. I think on the Twitter space where he said they have now taken colors away from us. You know, those are
Yes.
simple rainbow colors
Yeah.
we all used to enjoy. Now
Mm.
you have to be careful if you have to put them on a shoe, on a piece of clothing,
I
on
would not touch
anything, because
anything with a rainbow color.
we know what it means now, and
Mm.
now that has all
But-
this manner of
And I hope that
connotations.
political party has changed their name, that National Rainbow Coalition. I hope they have changed because. uh, but then I'm very sure
Exactly,
if those guys, National Rainbow Coalition, went and solicited funds, they'll get a lot of money.
exactly, because
Mm.
they have the term rainbow,
Rainbow.
and we know who the rainbow people are.
Yeah.
So the people, of course, pushing the rainbow agenda will be very keen to support them in whatever whatever goal or campaign they're
There's even
pushing.
a platform. There's a platform whereby I don't know how you prove it, but if you're a
Mhm.
member of LGBTQ, you get funding.
Yeah,
So
they
now
say.
the
I mean,
question we're asking, how do you prove? They tell you, okay, Mr. Andrew, please enter that room. There'll be someone to inspect your anatomy to see
I'm
if
sure
you're
they
honest.
they probably don't even do much due diligence, but because all they know is anything pushing the agenda, be it negative or positive, is an advancement for them. Uh, but also the other thing, this video for me, brought to mind. I remember reading of a story of a lady who does coaching for leaders using horses. And the idea is that you take this group of people, put them around horses, and horses have it's like any animal, even human beings. People who are said to be blind are said to have a certain heightened sense of sensing, be it touch or sound or something, much more than fully bodied people that have full eyesight and everything else. Even animals are said to they can be able to sense things like earthquakes or tsunamis when they're about to appear or come up, because they're more grounded with nature. They have
No, they don't have.
another
They don't have.
sense.
It's more of they don't have
uh,
assists. It's like
mm,
remember when we were small, you
yes,
used to be told during mathematics, don't use a calculator, it will make you weak in mathematics. You remember?
correct, yes.
Now, when we tell you 20 plus 14, but
You're
days of
reaching out
yore,
for a
we,
calculator, yeah.
days of before, we could sing that mathematics table like nobody's business. Or
So yeah,
we've,
so
we've,
essentially
we've
we've
dulled,
created crutches.
we've dulled ourselves. We've blunted ourselves. Like something which is very
Uh-huh.
common. If you have been driving an automatic transmission car for 5 years, then they tell you today you are driving a manual. You will start questioning yourself. Remember, where's the automatic one? Remember, no, today you are driving manual. So we brought in so many what you call assists.
Mm,
It's like that's why I really like Formula One. Formula One, there's no that
hmm.
ABS braking. There's no
Yes.
ABS in Formula One. The ABS, it is you. You are to do the
Ah,
braking yourself. Yeah. That's
right.
anti-lock braking. There's no anti-lock braking
It's not
system.
there.
For
Yeah.
Formula One car, do you know that's something called brake boost? Like when you push the brake, there's a cylinder that transfers your motion and whatnot, and
Hmm.
those by wire. The Formula One car, you need. over 300 psi of no, 30, is it 30 or a lot of force to push the brakes. So what we've done to us, this automation, machine assistance, had made us become dull.
Mm.
That's why people of the olden times, you hear somebody's predicting rainfall. Now we have weather forecast, satellites, and whatnot. Now imagine what you have a catastrophic event of major satellite failure. We are done.
Mm.
Or you have to do some quick mathematics by hand. Your calculator is not working. Your phone is dead. We tell you 25 times 30. You are lost.
Just imagine what will happen if, internet goes dead. People go mad.
But people in 80s were communicating. They were living fuller lives. There was no breakdown in communication.
Yeah.
In fact, people were disciplined. Say, let's meet at archives at 4.
Yes.
You meeting. But
Yes.
now you'll be, hey, I'm on the way. Yes, I'm on the way. I'm on the way. All right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think you also, I like the word that you used at some point. You said we've blunted ourselves very
Mm,
much. We've,
mm.
we've become dull, as you've said. So we've killed our instincts. And animals are really a very perfect example because all they have is their instinct.
Yeah.
And that's all they go by. I think our minds have just corrupted us. And as actually, as Kibe says, it's just the voices in our minds that you know completely throw us off. They confuse us. They make us focus on things that are not there. But if we have this heightened sense of instinct, and we can learn it so well from animals, because horses, dogs can tell you, a dog can clearly tell you a guy who is up to no good. How they
Yeah.
figure it out, it's it's
Mm.
it's it's it's, it's really utilizing those senses that they have. So
The way when we were growing up, your parent could see with someone, they tell you, "Huyo kijana si mzuri."
si
They have not
mzuri.
talked to him. They have only seen him from. They haven't even heard him speak. They look at you walking with him. They tell you, "Huyo kijana si mzuri."
It's like my
Mm,
dad. My dad always say, I just need to listen to someone for 1 minute or even less.
mm,
I'll tell you all
mm,
about him.
mm,
It's
mm.
and this is what, because we have we've corrupted who we are and
You
created.
start losing identity.
We've lost our identity as
If
human
you can, if
beings.
you see, if
All
you, I cannot,
this,
if I cannot identify myself, why will I identify someone else? A lion has to know it's a lion for it to hunt. Otherwise, it will be going eating other lions.
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, man. I think let's close it there. It's
One
it's
hour,
really been
22
a
minutes. 1 hour, 23 minutes. It's
yeah,
been magical, a magical Saturday. These are
yeah.
Next Saturday to be really wonderful.
Despite our KPLC
The Kenya
Kenyan
Puny
Puny
Lambistics
Lambistic Company.
Company. They came through. They came through. They came.
Yeah. Oh man.
So
But
that's
that,
it.
that was a good one. Yeah,
Let's
that's it.
reconnect next Saturday. All
See
the
you
best.
next one. All the best.